welcome to Game of Thrones TV show. Come in and see. We will be recapping and reviewing episode 4, Book of the Stranger. I can't wait to get stuck into this episode because it's a lot to tackle. My name is Maude Garrett, aka what could I be this week? Mother of Maudes. Where are my Maudes? Oh, here I am. Oh, guys, I'm tired. Hey, guess what? Joining me on the couch today, we've got Matt Lieberman. Hey,
and
Matt.
Now my watch was awesome. It was so good. Yeah.
I like that. And also Steve Zaragoza.
Hi, guys. My watch is gone. Who stole my watch?
Jokes. So let's get stuck into this episode. It was absolutely amazing. In true tradition of season 6, it kicks off at the wall. Everything's changed. The whole tone's changed. SNERD is like ran out of fucks to give.
He's got a shorter haircut. He's got more confidence because of it.
Yeah, but he wants out. He's sick of fighting.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it anymore.
He wants to go to Florida.
Yeah.
Pretty
He
much.
wants to go to Disney World. He wants to
get a tan.
He wants to open a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville franchise.
And I think he has
sure.
every right to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
If you die on the job and you come back, you can open a Margaritaville
It's not just
franchise.
he's just died. He's been murdered by the people that he's sworn to protect.
I also think about how fucked up it is that, like, because even, what's his name before he got hung or hanged?
Ollie?
Hanged.
Sir
Not
Alistair?
Ollie, Sir Alistair was like, you fucking have to keep fighting. Ha ha. Like, basically, like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's fucked up. Like, Jon Snow dying is sad and fucked up, and it would have made me, like, hate the series so much. But, like, if this was real life, it's so fucked up that he's fought
You've said
so
fucked
hard.
up 4 times.
It is, because, like, if he's, like, it
It's a
is fucked
drinking
up.
game
The whole
if you're
thing's
playing
fucked
at home.
up.
Yeah.
Sick.
But, like, had that been real life, like, he's totally paid his dues.
Totally.
He's done enough, and now they just want him to fight more. It's just so tiring.
Well, Steve, I don't know if you ever heard of my good friend Arachnid Pal, but he once learned from his uncle, when you have great skills, you have also a responsibility to use them.
Yeah, but, like, what if you don't want
Spider-Man.
to?
Oh, man,
Yeah,
it
but
took me
like,
too long.
what about that responsibility though?
So basically, Jon Snow is Jesus now.
Kind of.
He's
yeah.
rose from the dead,
Jesus,
and he's still
straight
got to
up.
fight the good fight.
Yeah.
One thing that I have noticed about Game of Thrones, especially with the Starks, is such an overwhelming feeling of isolation. When they got split up, they were on their own, and they really had to fight to survive.
Yeah.
So when Sansa Stark walks in those doors at the wall, and you they see each other, and they're reconciled, and they're finally reunited. I
No,
think that
Rickon's captured. They weren't reconciled.
what? Aw, yes.
It's reconciled, Steve. No, it's a huge moment for the show.
I
It's
was
the
so
yeah, it was
overwhelming.
Emotions. I
Yeah.
had feels. So many feels.
It was the first time that
Yeah.
2 Stark children have interacted since season 2. Like, at least, like,
Yeah.
not like Bran and Rickon, who were already together, but like, it was a huge moment for the series. I loved seeing them together. I'm so happy that she apologized for how crappy a sister she was.
I've
'cause
actually,
she was
in real
treating
life,
him-
I've had to do the same thing to my brother. As soon
Really?
as I got out of my brat phase, I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
you
yeah.
didn't
He's
like
like, "You know nothing."
separate your brother from the rest of your family because he was a bastard.
Well, we don't know that, man.
Yeah, I don't want. You're right. Never assume. You're so
Shout
right.
out to Darcy. Hey, Darcy.
Hi, Darcy. Are you a
I just
bastard?
feel like perfect timing for Brienne and Sansa.
Timing.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, the timing was perfect for once. Brienne of Tarth was on time.
Yeah. But it's like, it's so refreshing. All over this episode, we got so much forward motion in all the stories.
Yeah.
It felt like every story, and this is the beauty of not being tied to the books anymore, is the creators of this show are like, what is the most satisfying and expeditious way for us to tell the best story? And they're laying that out.
Well, what season 5 did as well was have so many loose threads. It was
man.
when will Davos learn about Shireen? When will we find out if Brienne of Tarth actually sealed the deal with Stannis? And in this one scene, we hit all
Well,
of
did you ever
those.
feel like they weren't going to hit on that stuff? Because I feel like those
It
are
was
strings
looming.
they had to tie up.
And the fact that they did in this episode was so
Yeah,
rewarding.
and
as
it was
the
done so
viewer.
organically well,
Right.
too. It wasn't forced. It didn't feel like super written exposition. It was done very well.
Melisandre was very coy about what happened to Shireen. It was just like, ooh, well,
Yeah, but it's weird that Melisandre is like Melisandre
Melisandre.
or Dre, whatever. It was the Red Witch. It's weird that she like is so still stunned. Like I felt like her confidence, like I guess she's still her character arc is she's starting to feel like really bad about the shit that
She
happened.
invested everything into the wrong king.
Right. So I get that part, but like her confidence was completely was gone, all but gone when Jon Snow was lying dead on the table and she was like, I can't resurrect. Like, there's no way. Like, I don't even know what's real anymore. The fire god doesn't talk to me anymore. And I thought Jon Snow was, and then she like brings a guy back from death. Like, I felt like that would be like, oh dude, she's going to be like fucking smirky McSmirk pants and have her confidence back. But it seems like she's still like, upset, and like that didn't do anything for her confidence.
One might say her overconfidence was her weakness.
Yeah,
I guess so, but like she's still in the same place. It seems like she's still in the same place emotionally she was before she raised someone back, from someone from the dead. I
think she no longer has faith in herself. She has faith in what she sees.
Come back a little bit.
She sacrificed a child for nothing.
Yeah, that I mean,
and so many thousands
of
people died like because of her decisions. Like it seems like to me that she's seeing the Red God putting out in front of her destiny, and it's in that one moment between her and Davos where he's like, I thought that Stannis was the prince that was promised, and she just straight up ignores him. She's like, I don't want to think about that. I know I fucked up, but this seems like the right thing, and even if it's not, I'm gonna follow it because goddamn, I don't have any hope or confidence
All
left.
of Melisandre's shit got called out.
Yeah.
Got called out by Davos, and then Brienne comes in going, oh, by the way, I killed Stannis, and it's like, well, you abandoned him, and it got him killed. And then the last thing was, I don't think that I forget, Melisandre. I know what you did with that little demon baby that killed Renly, the man that I was sworn to protect. I do not forget.
Yeah.
So everything that she'd done.
It is her saying, I understand, I am not in charge.
All right.
I think that's an important place
but I mean, like, I would have appreciated like a little bit more confidence after bringing Jon Snow.
Sure, it's a big deal.
But I guess maybe we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Or something.
Zach at Zico Aleph 20 says, GOT was teasing us and torturing us for so long that the payoff is so satisfying now, like Sansa reuniting with Snow.
Big time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're gonna like kick it together now. Like there's no more like you figured Jon Snow would be like, I'm leaving and that's that. You'd go where you want, but no, he's reunited with his sister, so he's like, we're sticking together. We are together now.
That's the thing is like season 5 or season 4 Game of Thrones, it would have been enough that she shows up at the wall, and that's a big deal. And then we don't see anything else for the rest of the episode. It's like they had her come in, they interacted, she established her agenda, he established his. That letter comes, they both change, and now we are on a direct path.
Oh, that letter, by the way.
Woo! Come see it.
Come and see.
Right? That's like some straight up internet troll shit.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
oh, you better
they
believe.
pulled YouTube comments. Like that was like the first YouTube comment.
That's going to become one of those regular troll comments.
Yeah,
it's just that.
Yeah, come and see. His lower jaw was like lengthening with every heat.
It's interesting though because like even though those are the types of things that are said on Xbox Live on the daily, like in that letter, like it just seems like when presented in a way that is pure evil, wouldn't that be enough for people to be like, yeah, maybe when I say that shit, it is fucked up.
No, they're like, it's funny. It's funny. They think I'm like that, but I'm not.
Yeah. Nope. It's bad. It's wrong, and you shouldn't talk to women like that.
I want to know how Ramsay Bolton would advertise an open house. Yeah.
Everyone's welcome except, and then every
except
bad
you.
word.
Come and see. Yeah. Show up, and I have free cookies and juice, and also I murdered your parents. Come and see.
But I do love the beginnings of the Battle of the Bastards. I love that. That's really cool.
Everybody's coining Battle of the Bastards, Bastard Bowl. I mean, have we all forgotten that it's Ramsay Bolton now, not Ramsay Snow?
Yeah, but I mean, like he's
not
still
a bastard.
technically not like
Under the law, he is a Bolton.
Not our law.
Yeah.
Well, it's fictional.
But under Jude law.
So what about the Wildling girl, huh? That's messed up.
Yeah, to bring her
Asha.
back just for that.
Yeah.
That's actually, I actually felt for the actor. She's a great little actress. She was Nymphadora. She was Tonks in Harry Potter,
Bless
and then she came back, and it was like, oh, you had to straddle and die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she at least was like maybe the first character to try to kill Ramses.
She's like, oh, is
Ramses
that all
the
you've
second?
done?
Ramses.
You flay the
I get them
body and then you
confused.
don't eat it. Oh, I've seen worse, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh.
I just feel like yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good try. I think.
Liza Bautista at My Name's Not Lisa 8 on Twitter says, I feel heartbroken Asha was such a great character. But I do like that it established, once again, we need to kill the shit out of this motherfucker.
Yeah.
But also, like, that he knows everything that Theon knows. And, like, I guess we kind of forgot about the fact that she was the reason why Bran and Rickon were able to escape and how he was able to fool him. But I'm trying to, like, rack my brain about, like, what else does Theon know that Ramsay now knows that could come into play later?
I feel like it's kind of exhausted. He didn't know so much. I mean, now that the Kingsmoot's a big thing in the Iron Isles, I don't know how much Theon would have like announced about that.
Well, not only that, like, it wasn't Theon like completely tortured to the point where he became just this like kind of mute, like half human.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for some reason he just like snapped out of it, like just because Sansa showed up.
Well, he
or
had
whatever.
hope again.
But wasn't he just like straight up like unable to even complete sentences at one point?
It was a
Like,
mumbling.
Yeah.
Like
during-
so, there's I don't know if you're able to retain anything really after being tortured. So.
I don't know. He retained enough to, like, this. Everything could have tumbled out of his mouth while he was still being tortured before he even was Reek.
Yeah.
Before he was a half person.
But he definitely sounds like he's Theon again, so that's something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm really excited for the Kingsmoot. Like the brief sliver of it that we saw in the upcoming scenes thing at the end. It didn't look like the Kingsmoot, maybe as I imagined it. I guess just because it's like in the daytime outside, and like I don't remember that being how it was written. But
Which one's that?
The Kingsmoot.
the Kingsmoot in
It
the Iron
happens in the
Islands.
book.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I read that very fast because it didn't really enthrall me remotely.
Right, but like some fans love the Kingsmoot, some fans are like,
More power to you.
But I do love Theon showing up. I thought that Yara's reaction to him showing up was very, very her. Like, I lost good men, and now you're just showing up like nothing
I
happened.
tried to save you.
Yeah.
And you weren't even you. And
Yeah,
you did not.
man,
and you
that-
betrayed me,
that
you
moment-
asshole.
Yeah.
When
Stop
he's
crying.
like, they've taken so many parts of me or whatever, and she's like, yeah, they sent one of those parts.
Yeah,
And it's
I
like,
put
oh
it up,
boy.
I put it up above the
Forgot
mantle.
about
There's
that
your old
stuff.
penis. Remember that?
I think it was actually a shout out to Alfie Allen. He did some great acting in that particular
True.
scene. It was very emotional. Like, you know, sure, he doesn't remember much, but coming back home to the only place that he knows and then not having that sympathy, not having that, like, you're back, having this harden up because that all went down and that was your choice. It was your fault. Now we've got to, we've got to
Yeah.
take over from Dad. And the fact that she blamed him going, oh, timing wise, speaking of good timing, the Kingsmoot's up and you just happened to walk back.
I
You
mean,
want
that
the
was a
throne.
coincidence, really.
Yeah,
really
he had
was.
no idea, but she doesn't know that.
No,
and
she doesn't know
And
that.
it's just sort of like, I have clawed my way into power like every step of the way because no one wants to give power to a woman, and I had to prove myself twice as much as any man, and now you're just going to show up and fucking claim it as your birthright because you're a guy? Fuck you, dude. And
She's
thank
got the proof that he's not a guy anymore, though.
Exactly. She's got it.
Him and Varys should kick it.
Yeah.
Grey Worm.
Hey, man.
that
You ever
one
get an itch where your dick used to be? Dude, totally.
Let's move on to the Vale. This is the first time we've seen Robin Aaron for like
Yeah.
3 feet of his
Without
height.
a tit in his mouth.
Yeah, he's taller than Peter Baelish. That was so weird.
Yeah.
You can't control how a young actor's
Well,
gonna grow
I mean,
up.
yeah, that's just how that
But he's
works.
still
supposed
got
to be
that
like-
weird little mushy face.
He's great.
Well,
He's-
even
he's-
Rickon looked kind of like, oh, wait a minute, really? He's
Yeah,
a
he's a
little
big
bit, he's that
boy.
old now?
Yeah.
It's been seasons.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been
just
been
how it works.
years.
Well, they've talked about it since the show started that they're gonna have problems with the children like growing up, and I guess like even in the books, like isn't Arya supposed to be like 15 or something?
Arya,
She's
so like,
younger than that.
yeah,
I
like
think Sansa's
Daenerys
only
was
13.
supposed to be 13
Yeah.
at the start of the series.
Yeah, there you go.
You
So-
know, like they're all
Sorry, I meant
aged
Sansa.
up.
Sansa's supposed to be like 15, right?
Sansa
Yeah.
started off being about
Arya's
11.
supposed to be like
so-
12 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
getting older now.
Yeah, they're throwing that out the window, I guess.
I wrote in my notes though that so was it Lord Aaron was perfectly pathetic. He's still trying to fire bow and arrows.
Yep.
Still can't do
Hey,
anything.
he's a kid. He'll learn.
He's having fun.
He's having fun.
But do you guys remember every episode we're like, and no Peter Baelish, and where's Littlefinger? I love how he has such a grand entrance, as if
Yeah.
to say, I'm back in the show, bitches.
And like it's the expediency of storytelling. It's not just that he shows up to establish where he is. He shows up and he declares war in one scene.
Well, I used to think he was like maybe the villain of the series, of the entire series.
There
but
is
it
no
seems
such
like
thing
he's-
as villain almost.
Well,
it's like
but,
how
like-
badly and how smartly can you execute your way to the throne?
But like Joffrey was like
intended.
the villain of the series for a while. Like he was the bad guy, and I used to think that Littlefinger was the bad guy. But I feel like now he's like just sprung on Sansa, so he's gonna just kind of like side with her.
He
really.
realized that
But he's
Sansa
the
was
one
a
who
key
sold
to the
her into
north.
basically not sexual slavery, but he's the one who basically handed her over to be raped.
But I think
repeatedly.
didn't he have like a bigger plan? Like that was part of
He
his bigger
needed-
plan.
he
or
needed
something?
a key player in the
for
north.
himself. So that he could have power. He doesn't see her as a person. He sees her as a prop. He sees
I
her
guess you're
as an
right.
extension of Cat.
And how clever was it? I love how they reasserted all of Peter's power effortlessly.
Yeah,
he
just
got
like that.
challenged, being like, you sold her to the Boltons. You know how that was a bad idea. And he's like, funny, I didn't tell anyone where I was going on that trip except you. And then immediately went, you're dead. If I click my fingers, this little boy who has all the power technically will do anything that I say.
still feel like Varys and Littlefinger are the most powerful characters in the show. Like woman with dragons, guys with armies, whatever.
Still think that after this episode?
Well, I do, because I still think that the power of voice is really like what beats like the armor and the swords and the fire.
I think if you're a leader, you need someone like that by your side.
Yeah,
But
there's-
you also need to, I don't know, have some dragons and not feel flame.
I would
I
say
mean, it
they're-
helps for sure.
Yeah, I would say maybe they're the smartest on the show, but not the most powerful. I think they might have the most skill when it comes to getting themselves out of sticky situations and accruing power. We have a
Just
tweet
the fact
here.
that they've survived as long as they have without any like real like skill.
I feel
warrior
like some
skills
people
is
raise
pretty
swords,
amazing.
some people use words.
Yeah. We got a tweet here from WK Sniper at Sniper3214. So what will Littlefinger demand in return for the Army of the Vale? I'm afraid of another Sansa marriage. Well, you have to kill Ramsay first for her to be married again.
But that's what's happening, basically. Bolton's teaming up with, Peter Baelish is teaming up with the Freys to take over the bastard, which means that he'll get...
Oh, right. He did visit the Freys last season, right?
Yes, and now that the Freys are obviously going to catch wind that their newborn baby and the Lady Frey have been taken to the dogs, that's a cause for war. So when they all go to the north to beat out the Boltons, which they obviously will, then Snow's going to be on Baelish's side.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
but
That's
will
why.
he
That's
be?
what I'm
Wildlings?
thinking.
Yeah, well, will he be? Because the Freys murdered his mother and his brother, or not his mother, but like his brother, like his favorite person in the whole world, except maybe his dad. Like, it's going to be a very complex situation. It's a tenuous alliance at best.
But that's
Well,
what's
I
been
guess-
happening. Like, you've got Brienne of Tarth, who absolutely hates Melisandre for creating the devil blood magic for killing Renly, and then hated, everything else that went along with them, and then realized it was like, well, I hate everything you did. I won't forget it. We need to work together.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
I love that finally people are understanding the greater good. The greater
Greater
good. Because like everyone has been so selfish and so singularly minded about accruing power or about, avenging deaths. And it's like all about, my family's important. No, my family's important. No, I want power. I want power. And it's just like, no, there's a bigger thing at play here, which is there are White Walkers storming up to that wall and we are screwed.
And that's a big theme of what's happening in Marine at the moment, because you've got Tyrion saying, you know what, you've tried the attack approach. I'm going to try the diplomatic approach. And even though you cannot stand the slavers, we need peace. There is something worse out there. This is the lesser of two evils. We need to unite under these circumstances.
It's just proof that those situations are never black and white. You can't have one like you go for one thing and something terrible happens as a result of that either choice you make. But it seems like Tyrion is more about like keeping the peace, which is more in line with what the audience wants. I feel like.
Well, the hardest thing for him is that he's coming in, he doesn't know anyone, no one knows who he is, and he's making demands.
I feel like he's got something up his sleeve though, because it seems deliberately like against what Daenerys wants. And it's
Not
very
true. It used to be what Daenerys didn't want. Daenerys came in going, no more slaves. I'm abolishing that rule. You must abide by that. And then the Sons of the Harpy was spawned from that. And she can't control that. She is actually losing this city fast.
I guess she hasn't made like a decision about it yet, but you're right. It seems like knowing Daenerys' character, she would probably side with Tyrion on this one. But I also feel like there's got to be something more to Tyrion just being like, yeah, give him slave girls real quick. Like, no big deal. Like, at the end of that scene, he just goes like, here's some sexual slaves for you guys.
Do you think a little bit of his crankiness over Shay is slipping into that, perhaps?
Maybe. It didn't seem that way to me. It seemed like he knows he has a pretty good idea of who he's dealing with. He spoke to them in their language. He's still, it's not a great version of it, but Tyrion just kind of abolished slavery through negotiation. Yeah, it'll take 7 years.
But by 7 years of slavery,
I know,
still,
and 7 years of slavery is,
a great film that should have won an Oscar.
Is a horrible thing. And like, I love that that Grey Worm and Missandei really spoke to that and stayed on message. Like, they understand how important it is that they achieve peace, at the very least in the short term.
But I think they almost resent Tyrion because he hasn't been a slave, and both of those have. And it's like, this isn't personal for you, but this is very personal for us. This is very real.
100%.
And you're talking about it in a political way. This is like, this really affects us.
Well, I think that's important.
It's important also for Tyrion to gain their respect too. I feel like so. I have a feeling that Tyrion's got some tricks up his sleeve that will end up kind of like satisfying everybody. I
don't know. I think that what Missandei and Grey Worm said to him is very, very telling, and I think it's going to force him to reevaluate who's playing who here.
Yeah.
We got a tweet here from Kindle V at Kindle Marie. I do wonder how Dany will react to Tyrion's plans while she was gone. I think she's going to be pretty pissed off. Like, she's not a negotiator, she's a conqueror. And she proved that in this episode once again.
But at the end of the day, the greater good.
But that's what I'm saying too. Like there has to be something like Tyrion. Like, again, she's gonna be pissed. There's not much that she'll actually do about it. But I feel like Tyrion wouldn't deliberately like go
Throw
against. Throw her under the bus that way. There's got to be something else going on here.
You think he's got tricks up his sleeve. Speaking of that, Jorah, Mamont.
Yeah.
What's that for a segue? Huh?
He's got that scale going.
Poo, poo, poo. So,
I'm like, Dario Naharis, you need to fucking shut your mouth.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, get that woman's name out your mouth.
Hey, I'm just banging Daenerys. Also, here's my sex knife that I like a lot.
But Dario Naharis has never really seen the full impact of Daenerys. He's like, I've conquered the conqueror in a way. Yeah. And I think he loved rubbing that in Jorah's face just for the sake of like, I got her and you didn't,
But it's like,
bruh.
when did he become a frat boy?
Yeah, he's a total frat boy.
He totally is. Yeah, for sure.
Whatever. I mean, sometimes I don't know, girls gotta get a frat boy in her life sometimes.
The bad boy.
Maybe when he looked like he did before he got recast.
Anyway,
by the way, with Jorah, really quick, just as an aside, Jorah's scale, what do they call it? Grayscale. Didn't the princess have the grayscale and they stopped it with something?
Yes, they stopped it with it was like a maester with like potions.
Yeah,
and
they did all sorts of things to try to stop it, but then something eventually worked.
But it didn't like go away. She just wasn't. It wasn't going to take her over anymore.
Yeah, and
so
it was Stannis looking at every corner of the earth for the cures and having like people specializing
like
in
Jorah
apothecaries.
does not have those resources.
I know, but like in the same token that there was like a guy that they brought back from the dead like seasons ago as foreshadowing
I know where you're
for
going
Jon
with
Snow's
this. You just want there to be a chance.
I just love Jorah. I really like Jorah a lot. I feel for the character. I feel bad for him, and they just fucking Dario's kicking him while he's down.
He can't fight for shit.
Well, without a sword, he can't fight for shit.
Without a sword, he
with
can.
a sword.
With a sword, he's great.
With a sword, he's fantastic.
But apparently, Dario says there's no way he'd be able to survive even one sexual encounter with Daenerys.
Well, but that could be the eternal tragedy that he could never be with her, but he still wants to serve her and protect her.
Yeah, he does.
And I think if there were a way for them to stop the grayscale, I would appreciate that.
Oh, okay. All right. Word to the writers. Steve Zaragoza does not want Jorah to die from
Or
grayscale.
he just fights and dies valiantly in battle or something.
I still think he should use it for his advantage.
One thing, I don't mean to like take us back to the wall. Oh, no, I knocked over Daenerys. I'm a bad boy. So just because so many people have been tweeting us about it, Mick Reese at McReese00 says, so many great moments in this ep, but I love the way Tormund looked at Brienne when they came through the gates and had dinner.
All right, let's
Everyone's
touch on that
talking about
quickly
it.
then
Just
before we
quickly.
go back to the dangerous duo. It was a brilliant moment. Brienne of Tarth coming in there. Obviously, she's never ever had anyone genuinely show her any affection. At the last time it happened, it
Or
was
just
a bet.
lust.
Yeah, lust.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that
if it's
look of
affection.
like DTF eyes.
Like he's DTF for sure.
Yeah.
He wants to bang.
As he was like, on that
100%.
Well,
chick.
because he's seeing like this big, like towering woman.
Warrior, like
Yeah.
confident, like that's the wildling way. Is
Yeah.
like they respect a woman who can kill, who can hunt, who can take care of herself.
I loved Brienne talking to Davos because she is towering over
Oh
him,
yeah,
and it's
oh,
just
she could kill him in a
wonderful.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
She's a tough woman.
Yeah, but let's not forget, Tormund has fucked bears. It's in
Hey,
the books.
listen,
Yeah.
desperate
Tormund-
times call for desperate measures.
I'm just saying, Brienne deserves more than a bear fucker. And I know that people are going crazy over this leery look, but dude's a little bit of
Yeah,
creep.
but hold on. That's
And
the
he
books.
fucks bears.
I mean, there's a lot of differences from the books and the
Listen,
show.
I want her to be
Okay.
kissed by the flame.
Look, she already had to fight a bear. Let's not have her have to fight a bear for the affections of her man.
I think
they'll
it's
be
time
great.
for Brienne of Tarth to get some.
Do you
She's
think
earned it?
Do you think that grizzly dick is sexually transmittable?
Well, I mean,
Hey, so let's get back to Dario Naharis and Jorah Mormont. These are on they're on a rescue
Grizzly
mission to
dick.
get Daenerys from the Dothraki camp. And you know, this I feel like the conversation or like that play, the frat boy play that Dario has, is a little exhausted by now because that's the only thing that he's got on Jorah. But then Jorah comes
but it's
in.
the one thing Jorah wants more than anything. So
But
it's
then
like,
Jorah comes in and looks at this camp and he's like, right, this is what the regulations are. This is what the, you know, what the camp does and doesn't accept. We can't have our weapons on here. I know this for a fact. I've lived with the Dothraki camp. This is where we need to go through that camp. And you see Dario be like, shit.
well, they needed each other. Yeah.
You're smart. You know things.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm still gonna keep my naked lady dagger because my
The way that he
favorite.
kissed her
fucking
butt,
creepy
man.
naked lady
He was
dagger.
like, "Mwah."
It's the equivalent of like the guy with like a gun that has like a naked girl on it
Yeah.
or
Right.
something. Like, it's
He
just,
would wear a gold chain if it was 2016.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do take the night of darkness for cover, and they get into a bit of a predicament. And I think that Dario realizes that he can step up with the dagger, and he kills Jorah. That was a nice little moment.
He kills Jorah.
I mean,
he killed the
kills the
guy that
guy-
was gonna
Yeah.
kill Jorah.
He
Right.
saves Jorah's life.
There you go,
That's what I
saves
meant
Jorah.
to say.
And also, I was like, I loved
Damn.
how having no such thing as DNA or CSI really worked in their favor.
And I love how they're like, they're not gonna look for a stab wound if we just crush this guy's head with a rock.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have lost almost all respect for the Dothraki after this episode.
Why's that?
I don't think they're like that tough anymore. I don't think they're smart at all.
Well, they were never smart. They were fierce. They are fierce warriors.
They hate
yeah, but like
women.
it just seems like I don't know. Once we get to like the fire stuff, I've got something to say.
Well, let's get there then.
Then go ahead.
Let's talk
All right.
fire, Steve.
So
let's
we go,
talk fire.
We go to the Dosh. What is it called?
Dosh Kalin.
The
Bless
Dosh
you.
Kalin.
Yes. As Mark Antony Marini writes at Mark Ant Marini, bruh, it's Khaleesi's world. We're all just living in it.
Bruh.
Look, I love the scene was great. It was more smug Daenerys, which we haven't seen in a while. And it was like these assholes talking shit, and they deserved every last moment of torture that they endured
It was-
before burning to death.
She literally went full blown Carrie in this.
She did.
Yeah.
But also, like, I took issue with several things.
Go on.
First of all, the severity, the swiftness in which the fire destroyed that hut. Like, it just, the second she knocks
Horse's
down.
piss may be very flammable. We don't know.
But like she knocks down one of those like
And the
blaziers or
whole-
whatever, and the fucking place is bonkers
It's kind of
destroyed.
made of hay and flammable items.
But
as
the
well.
floor isn't. And
The floor is
here's my
sand.
question. Was it ever established, because I think it might have been, and maybe I'm just crazy, but that to ensure that in that place no one ever fought, those torches were always lit and the floor was covered in gunpowder? Am I crazy?
But also like,
Because otherwise there's no reason why sand caught on fire.
well, I like went to Twitter with this one and said, "Hey, Game of Thrones, that's not how fire works." And I got like a lot of shit about it. And a lot of people were saying like, "Well, the blaziers or whatever were
Braziers.
braziers were
Bruh.
filled with oil, so the oil caught quicker." But it's like, okay,
Oil,
but
yeah,
like,
for sure.
hold on, why do you have 4 giant things filled with oil and fire in the most flammable room in Westeros?
Yeah, and it
Because
was
see, that's
cool.
the
It's not
only-
oil.
That's the only way you can create light.
Yeah, but
At
like,
nighttime
why?
because there's no
yeah, but
electricity.
like in a
Yeah.
super flammable room though, like where like anybody could knock it
It
over
was a-
and you're dead right
But
away.
it's a
like,
world. It's like it's a city where where no one is supposed to fight or be killed. There's no weapons. There's no killing.
it just adds to the stupidity of the Dothraki for me.
To me, I don't agree on that point. I feel like to have big torches makes sense in your important
But like
meeting
filled
place.
with oil, like flammable oil. I don't
It's
know.
not even flammable oil. It's coals. But that's the thing, is like, if the floor is just sand,
Yeah,
sand
sand.
puts out fire. There's no reason it's not like she pushed it at a column
There
and the
could be some
column lit a blaze.
sawdust. There could be.
Also, like of the
Sawdust?
They could be something like
What
that.
are they sawing in their sacred meeting room?
also
Just
like
wood
the place
shavings?
like was destroyed in seconds.
Yeah.
Like another thing.
At one point, though, her anger at the last guy, I'm pretty sure, surged that fire towards
Maybe. I mean,
him.
look. Now we have Daenerys with like carry powers. I don't
Yes.
know where that came from.
I don't know. Do you remember where in that same room they poured a molten golden crown all over?
Oh, it was that
all over
room.
Viserys
Yes.
Targaryen.
That room would have been.
It's that same room.
Yeah.
So like when they poured all that molten hot gold on the ground, wouldn't that have also set the room
Great
ablaze?
point. Great point. Also, of the 14 super strong warrior dudes in there, they couldn't have broken that door down to get out. Like,
Nah, dog. There was like a shovel
just-
blocking it.
I get that they needed that scene for like Daenerys to just like do that humble smile thing, and everybody dies and everybody worships her because she walked through fire again,
guys,
even though we saw it happen already.
Shut
in the first
up!
season.
This is a brilliant moment.
Look,
we
I
haven't
know.
seen her
I
not
think
be
it's
affected
awesome.
by
No, no,
fire for
I-
5 seasons. She went in there and fucked shit up. We were sick of her being in the Josh Colleen.
I
That
know,
whole
but
stuff
it's
was
just-
stagnant.
it
I
was
was waiting
awesome.
for dragons.
It was
This
cool.
was cooler, in my opinion.
Look.
This was a brilliant moment, and you got titties. Just shut up.
It was cool, and I appreciated the titties. It's just that we've
I
seen
would
her
like
walk
to
through
address
fire
the
before.
titties,
Go ahead,
if I may.
address the titties.
So a few years ago,
Hashtag address the titties.
Amelia Clark did an interview where
Yes.
she said,
I will no
no
longer."
more nude scenes.
Yes.
I'm not doing
more
it anymore.
titties.
Now, that shot was framed so oddly, and she didn't move through all of it. And part of me believes
Stunt
that
double.
it was a stunt double. It was
Body
a
double?
woman. No, it's her.
It's her, yeah. I read
How-
about it this morning.
Oh,
she,
really?
She admitted it's her, yeah.
Interesting.
But they did
What
it
a-
on a
what an
super-
about face,
They
huh?
did it on in a very private set, though. Apparently, there was only like very few people allowed on the set, and they shot it separate from everything else. And
So say
Close
her
set.
dress stayed on. What is this bullshit? The sand ignites the fire, but it doesn't even burn her dress? What is this?
well, that makes the most sense out of everything that happened in that scene.
That it burned off her
clothes.
dress? Yeah, that makes 100%
Also, like,
sense.
one more thing. The whole place is collapsing, and there's fucking wood and rock falling on everybody or whatever, and it didn't get her ever the whole time.
No, it didn't
She's
get
there-
her.
she had a
There's
force
nothing
field on or
falling.
something, or
She
not?
is a
There was
god
tons of shit
now.
falling.
Then I didn't see anything.
You didn't
Got
see anything
God
fall?
status.
All right, let's
Nah.
cut to a clip.
Yeah.
She's showing these powers. I
Yeah.
love it.
No, but I
Whatever,
love
it
this
was
moment.
cool.
It
It was
closed
fine,
it closed the loop. It like Saturdays on SourceFed. No, in the first season when she burned Khal Drogo and she emerged from the flames with her dragons, it was her casting off her role as victim, as somebody who was sold essentially into sexual slavery to be the wife of this Khal and becoming a leader. And this, to me, was her once again reclaiming her power. Yeah, some people are pissed off. They're like, oh, it's the same. It's her coming full circle. It's her reaching the zenith of power, losing all of it, and recognizing that she could do it better this time around.
She's done this a couple of times, though. She's done this with the slaves. Like how she freed the Unsullied. She's like, yeah, cool. I'm going to play dumb. I'm going to pretend you're not talking about how you're going to sexually assault me over and over again. But I'm just going to wait here smiling pretty until my dragons come and burn you
Hold
alive.
on. I have no issue with the subtext of the symbolism of what it means this time around for her to walk through the fire again. I'm just like I don't understand the triumphant feeling of the exact same visual of her emerging from fire
Because
again.
new people are seeing this. Like,
Yeah,
the
I get
old
that.
Dothraki
I
camp
get
doesn't
that.
even really exist much anymore the way that it did. Now
Yeah.
she's got an army. She's had this has been witnessed by what looks to be like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are all bowing down to her.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just that we've seen that so many times in the show. No, we've seen her gain armies by doing something
That's what she's
impressive or
supposed to
whatever.
But
Yeah, but it's
the
like-
first time since season 1, or I guess since the House of the
Undying?
House of the Undying in season 2, where the first time since season 1 where she has done something without the help of her dragons, without the help of her armies, without the help of even Jorah or Dario or anybody like that. This is her reclaiming her power and her reminding the audience of who she is.
Right, I get
she is a
again the
conqueror.
subtext. I understand, and I get that, and all of that makes sense to me, and I like that. It's just that the visual of her emerging from fire again. It's like, let's do something a little different, maybe. Like, I don't know. I just personally, I felt like seeing her emerge from the fire again wasn't as triumphant for me because
Well,
I've seen it before.
Alex Dunn at Axel of the Key agrees with you. He says, anyone else not hyped about Daenerys' victory last night and feel like it was a bit of a cop-out and illogical?
I mean, look, yes, but I also, again, I agreed with all of your subtext, with all of the symbolism of her emerging this time. But again, it's just visually they're doing the same trick again, which is the only thing that I happen to agree with that just slightly. I'm on the fence.
I found it satisfying.
I mean, I'm gonna respectfully disagree completely, and I loved that moment a lot. I wrote in a lot of capital letters and even used a highlighter.
Cool.
So let's go back to the extreme opposite of this epic fire goddess moment, and go to the crypts under the dungeons, I should say, in the
In the
High
Sept?
Sparrows. That's the one.
Oh yeah,
With the moment with Marjorie.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, because
skipped it.
it's not fun, and the sparrow likes to tell long-winded stories about why he
About Coblin.
yeah, and I had a debaucherous big night, and I've never looked back since. I realized the error of my ways, and it's like, yeah, but just because you did that doesn't mean everyone else should do that. I didn't like and appreciate the way that he was like, if you get released, what will you do? She's like, I'll go to my brother, I'll go to my family, I'll go to my husband. Oh yeah, but that's just because they've got money. That's a materialistic thing.
Yeah,
And it's like,
they're so
huh?
yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean, it really
I would say
does.
money is very material. It is a material.
But she's not going there for money. She's going there because that's her family.
But it doesn't like kind of parallel like real life kind of like religion in a
or
way,
at least like cults where
Yes.
it's just sort
or
of
just
like
extremism, or what am I trying to say?
extremism.
Yeah, or like
Evangelical?
fundamentalism.
Oh,
or-
fundamentalism.
Yeah. The fundamentalists are always kind of cuckoo birds, but I feel like this scene is also one of those things where what's her name? Who goes to see her brother?
Marjorie?
Marjorie sees her brother, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's like he let her go see her brother, but in reality, it's really the High Sparrow having her brother break her in a way by seeing how damaged he is.
It's funny that you say break, because that's exactly what's happening here. The House of Tyrell is breaking under
Yes.
these pressures, and she's trying to remain strong. And Loras just is not. He's a mess, and he's living in filth. Like, the conditions that he's in are horrific. And I think that because of this is actually what's unifying Cersei and Jaime Lannister with the House of Tyrell and Olenna, and even Kevin Lannister as well, who's the Hand of the King. They were like not supposed to sit on the small council together. They wanted nothing to do with each other. Cersei, she was captured as well, and she embarrassed herself, and they're using that against her, even though she's now got her life back. And the fact that Olenna was just like, I will not have her confess. And Cersei goes, good. I don't think she should either. Let's work together to get them out, because what's the greater good? Having the House of Lannisters, or like all those guys, back in power and getting rid of the Sparrows once and for all.
And also
The
the
greater good.
Lannisters need the Tyrells still.
good.
Yes.
If the Lannisters lose the Tyrells, they're fucked. So
Yes.
it's very much like, but still, there's a lot of double crossing on the
sure.
horizon. I feel like, but also I really feel the High Sparrow has the upper hand here, because him kind of I feel like he was definitely relying on Tommen going to Cersei and telling her exactly what he wanted her to hear about Marjorie having to go walk the,
Tommen is such an easy thing to manipulate.
Oh yeah, he's a boy.
He's a sweet boy.
He's a boy.
Fill his mouth with plums, why don't you?
Yeah. The High Sparrow is using him for sure, and I feel like that he's definitely going to kind of like have a surprise attack waiting for them.
So I feel like if you saw the battle map and you had all the pieces and they're sliding them around to prepare for war, you've got the north, which is going to be all the wildlings kind of teaming up maybe with the Freys and Arryns and the Vale against the Boltons, and that's happening in the north. And then, of course, sooner or later, the White Walkers will come down from there. And then you've got, who knows about the Children of the Forest. And then in the south, you've got Daenerys, who's now got her Dothraki army and was even saying, like, I challenged when I was with Khal Drogo, we were going to go over the water grass, whatever it's called.
Over the
Water grass.
black see.
That's it. You know, I was going to take them further than you've ever been before, and I can do that. So she was building up her army to bring them to King's Landing, and then King's Landing itself is having the High Sparrows versus the Tyrells and Lannisters. There's like 3 wars forming in 2 places, and that's exciting.
Very exciting. And Steve, we got a tweet here, someone who agrees with you. Oh, yeah.
Dorn.
Who gives a fuck about Dorn?
Not
no
me.
one. Yeah. Ethpania at Ethpania Plow Me, really, says, hashtag TV show, Marjorie wasn't buying any of the High Sparrow shit. Yeah. Also, pretty sure High Sparrow expected Tommen to spill dem beans.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Trap.
But also I read a theory that was, who's Marjorie's brother there that's locked up? Loras, I've heard a theory that the reason why Loras was so blubbering and crying and like having a hard time was because he's already talked to the High Sparrow and already has double-crossed her. And already, like, it's just a theory, but they're saying that, like, he's already kind of spilled the beans saying that Marjorie knew I was gay and, like, and that's all
sure.
he
Well, he
needed.
broke. He's done.
Yeah,
like,
that's
he's
what they're
done.
saying. He broke for sure to the High Sparrow, and the High Sparrow's just rubbing it in Marjorie's face.
And this is very, very interesting as well because Sir Loras was the captain of the King's Guard. Like he is the one that's never really lost a joust. He's taken over like every kind of mission he's been on, quest, I should say. And yet here he is broken. And Marjorie, her mind is so strong that she knows that there's an out and she's holding on. She's fighting.
Yeah, I love that there was still that strength there even after she was trying to play the High Sparrow.
Yep.
Really cool.
So top moments of this episode.
Sansa and Jon meeting.
Yeah.
Their
for
scene
sure.
together that was just like so warm and great. Just like all the forward motion with like wars happening. Like there wasn't a ton of just like talking for talking's sake this episode. Like I felt like everything had purpose. Dany's triumphant moment, Littlefinger declaring war. Yeah, there were a lot of high points.
What about
this week.
when Tyrion said, "We waited big fat time" to the, or like, "Sorry, we made you wait fat time."
Yeah,
to those guys.
yeah.
in their
She's like, maybe
language.
I better translate for you. No,
So
I
good.
got this.
fat time. So what would you rate this episode out of 10?
Oh man, I would give this a 9 out of 10. Maybe the Osha death was a little like and like the Tyrion scenes went on a little too long. Okay. But other than that, it was pretty flawless in its execution and probably ranks in my like top 5 Game of Thrones episodes. It was really stellar.
I don't think I could rank them in order of episode, but I feel like it's a solid. Every episode this season has been fucking amazing. I think every episode is propelling the story. There's no real filler episode. I mean, the first episode
Was
arguably
weak
could
sauce.
be the weakest, but I still think it was a great episode. I love every episode this season, including this one, and despite my small issues with the comically flamed hut scene. But I think that's the only real issue I had with it. I give it like an 8.5 out of 10, maybe.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go with a 9 as well. I feel like it kind of goes setup, execution. The first and third episodes for me were a little bit slower and I think a little less happened, but I think you need that in order to then seal the deal with a few of these things. The fact that we're not only getting great satisfaction because they're tying things together and they're finally answering questions that had been unanswered for a little bit now, they're also playing it so that, yeah, you're right, there's progression. We're going to continue on with big things coming. So that's exciting. I think Maester Pycelle's days are numbered.
Yeah.
Every
episode he's come
talking
closer.
about Cersei behind her back and she keeps eavesdropping on him.
I mean, but look, he's almost dead, and he's got one foot in the grave with his chains and his like farts during dinner. I mean, I wasn't here for the last episode you guys did here, but I fucking love that fart moment. I thought that was the best shit ever. First fart in Game of Thrones, I think, right?
Yeah, it was first
So
part in Game
good.
of Thrones history.
And it was a great fart. It was just this tiny little toot. It didn't sound comical or anything. So good. So good.
What do you think's going to happen in the next episode?
We got some King's mood going on. That's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
I'm voting for Yara. Euron
Yeah,
Crow's
same
Eye
too.
is bullshit. Down with Euron.
Yeah. The crazy brother.
Yeah, bro.
Nom.
Oh yeah, the guy that killed what's his name? Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, Euron Crow's Eye is a dick. So yeah, that's going on. I want to see the same way that I feel like every storyline this week was given a direction to go in. I want the same thing to happen for Arya next week, where it's not just like, okay, you're
something-
not a beggar anymore. I want her to have a goal. It seems like everybody else has a goal right now, and she needs one.
She's had hurdles. She's had blockades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're getting him next week, but I want to see. I want oh God, what's his name? Al Swearingen from Deadwood. Ian McShane. I want him to show up already because
Who's
that's
he
gonna be
playing in
damn
this
cool.
Oh, because you heard he was cast in
He
this
was
season
cast
or
in
something?
it. They haven't revealed who he is, but it seems like he's going to be Randall Tarley, Samwell's father.
Oh, cool.
Just based on like casting and that character, it seems like it would be a pretty solid fit.
SourceFedNERD, we've actually reported about 3 separate times how Ian McShane has dropped spoilers about who
Oops.
he is, whether people really die, et cetera, et cetera. And
Oh,
so,
did he say who he is?
No, but he hinted towards a storyline, which I think supports.
Jesus.
Not that one. You remember the brothers who helped out Brienne in the books? Remember that kind of story angle? They hinted that he would be in some sort of monastery.
Oh,
I don't know how that'll be. I'd love to know what's happening with Samwell and
yeah.
Gilly.
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 Nearly called it Ginny.
Love Gilly.
And a little Sam.
I
Jr.
watched that preview for the next episode. You guys ever talk about that at all? You guys watch that ever?
Yeah.
If
that's
you
what I did.
didn't, maybe just end now. Goodbye.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I think I'm really excited to see Bran and
My
what
God,
he's doing
yes.
with those fucking White Walkers.
He's getting sucked in and he sees how much of an army of the undead army that's there.
chills.
And the fact that they can't shake him out of it, he's slipping in. It makes, and the fact that he's looking at the knights.
The king.
That king,
The
and the
Night
king looks
King.
right at him too. And I'm like,
Yes.
goosebumps. Ooh, I'm ready to see what
How
that's
much
all
power?
about.
Who is the Knight's King?
He's the devil.
He's a bad boy.
Yeah, he's a bad
Maybe
boy.
he's Ned Stark.
Ooh.
Get out of here.
Fan theory. We were talking about a fan theory before the show that Littlefinger might be related to Littlefoot from The Land Before Time.
Ooh, love that fan
Love
theory.
that fan
Yeah,
theory.
let's get some
Our
mashup
very own
images
Chrisito.
going. Chris.
Thank you so much for watching our review and recap of episode 4 of Game of Thrones on this week's hashtag TV Show. If you want to get your tweets in, you can do that using the hashtag. Matt's armed with the Twitter account at all times. Until then, though, come see us.
Come and see.
Come and see
Come
us.
and see us.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Dun 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 dun. Fa 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 fa
Game
fa
of Thrones, TV show. Hello, welcome to TV Show.